this is the final unboxing of box number 4 and 5. So in box 4 I got this, this and this, and box 5 I got this. Now, people might recognise this box. Looks like a Mercury. This is a dead giveaway. It's a Hadley camera. This box looks very similar to what we saw in my previous video. It's the HD receiver. And then we get some USB cables, some HDMI cables to go along with that. And then we get a long Ethernet cable too. And then, in our packing list, we have a CCS UC1X kit. What is that? So, as you can see just over here, we have the Mercury, so that I was using yesterday in my previous video. That is the Mercury M150 powered UC engine, the Flex range of products, or it can be Open UC as well if it's in that mode, if it's purchased that way. What I have here is the Mercury X. So let's go ahead and open this. And I was actually very surprised to receive this as part of this bundle. And that's because I was told Europe would get them slightly later than the US. So maybe this is the first one in the UK. We have Ethernet cable. We have some grips, so you lock the cables in. Another micro USB cable. That's the power supply. And I'm guessing this is the power supply as well. Yep, so same as what we've always had with the Mercury. Power supply. And there's some few instructions there. So really what's key is the new QR code. So you'll be able to scan that with your mobile device or your tablet, and or just search for the quick reference docs 8574, and that gives you the setup guide. So let's pull this out. It looks exactly like the existing Mercury. Oh, let's do this now. Let's get that up. That's done. Out of the way. What we will notice here is it is slightly different on this side. And we've got the LAN port. Now, if you remember, on the previous Mercuries, or the current Mercuries as well, they still are current, that's the second LAN port. Now this is transmit. So this is the transceiver. So what we've done is built in the transceiver into the Mercury, and then we still supply the receiver. And then we have the USB in, and HDMI in, then mic pods if you're using extension mic pods, and obviously our power, and then the USB accessory. So that's really how simple it is now underneath the Mercury. And what I'll do is overlay a screenshot of the two devices so you can see what they look like differently. Let's get it set up. So be back in a second. Now let's get set up and started. So I have the quick reference guide here, and let's start my camera and scan the barcode. And this is a nice thing with iOS, you can quickly open up a link. So now this shows me exactly what I need to do. So let's just focus in on this. And you can see, here's our quick start guide. So now this is all online, rather than being in the box, it makes it much easier to update and anything change if necessary. So everything's online now. Here is the back of the Mercury X unit. I've got my LAN cable here. I've got the transmitter out, which I will connect later. And I've got the laptop, USB, and HDMI, so that'll be my BYOD example, and then mic pods if I had them, and then finally power. I have my USB cable. Let's just turn this upside down, and let's put in the USB and HDMI. This will be for a BYOD environment. I can come along with my Skype, Teams, Hangouts, WebEx, you name it, whichever platform I want. I can come along with any application and then use the conference room features, such as the great audio and mic pickups from the Mercury. And then I can then use the room camera, which is the Hadley here. And also to do this nicely, I could put in a cable clamp there, and also I can route this through the forward. Let's power it up. So there we have power now going to the unit. This will boot up, probably a few minutes, and once that's booted up, I will also, in the meantime, go and connect my laptop here, so we can see what the BYD environment is. Mercury has now rebooted, now powered up. I plugged in the Ethernet, and I plugged in the, as you saw, the HDMI and USB. I've now routed them underneath, so it's much neater. So it's on the network. Now we can see, we've come to the home screen, and we have the option, this is a new version 2, should we say, framework that you may see already on Mercury's. It's also included, obviously, on the Mercury X. So I've got a home screen time. You can see that's slightly out, but we'll fix that in a minute. And we can present the OpenUC variant of the Mercury, whether it's standard Mercury or Mercury X, includes Air Media. So HDMI, which I can use here on my cable, or I can use Air Media. And this tells me how to connect, so it's got an IP address, and there's my PIN code. And that works with the Air Media app. If I had the USB Miracast dongle, then I can actually use Windows and use Windows key and K to present. So that's the sharing. And then obviously I can make a call. I can register this to any SIP server, also at Skype for Business. I can also pair it with my phone for Bluetooth and USB, the tethering cable I have here. Collaborate. So this is obviously using your BYOD, so using, say, Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts. Walk in the room, plug in your HDMI, a USB for the audio, and then finally select your camera, which would be in this case the Hudley, which we'll set up in a little bit. I've got a soft mute button here, but I've also got a hard mute button there, and I've got my volume control here. And down in the corner I have the I button, which obviously tells me the IP address of what I have here and the device name. Let's tether my laptop. And we can go to the IP address. The first thing we see is you can present with Air Media and start presenting, but we don't want to do that. Once logged in, so for example, I can go to the device and I can obviously set some options, so auto update and get any logs off here. So auto update date is now enabled on all devices. Date and time, we can synchronize this and obviously set this to UK, for example. Save our changes, successfully saved. So what we can do now is go back to our home and now see it's the correct time. So I've got return to call because it now is tethered and it says connected via USB cable. I can make a call to using Microsoft Teams, for example. So I need to set my audio device, and I can now choose the Crestron as my audio, so the echo cancelling Mercury as my speakerphone. So let's just try James Bond trailer. So we'll hear the audio. So this is a good test to make sure the audio is coming through the Mercury. So I'm doing the volume here. So that's great audio from the Mercury that we know. So that's all good from there. So we can make a call, say from our Teams client. And let's do an audio call because I have no camera set up yet. And again, you can hear it ringing now from here. That's how simple it is to walk in and do a BYOD environment in the OpenUC Mercury X. Now I'm going to connect up the other end by the screen with my camera, so the camera will plug in. So going back to the setup guide, we can see that, let's bring my iPad here, we can see that this is all done now, this is all set up. I now need to connect a network cable from the transceiver out to the receiver, and let's just zoom in here. You can now see this is the setup I will do over by my screen. Connect the Hudley camera, which is just there, I'll unbox that in a minute, into the USB host, and we'll set it as auto. Obviously we'll power up this as well, and we'll connect it up to the display. Don't forget, obviously this is a new version, so this all ships with the correct versions of firmware. Then we will make another call. Over by my desk I have now connected up the receiver end power. I've plugged in the HDMI to the screen, and I've got USB connected with the Hudley camera. Here's my screen connected up into HDMI, and up on my camera I have the Hudley camera there. The final piece of the jigsaw is to connect up the receiver, which we have here, to the transmitter. Take one cable and we plug that in. Hello dog. So now that's going to synchronise. So you actually get some status LEDs here. You just heard doo-dum, Windows checking up, and actually you can see the screen lit up in front. Let's go around to the front of the screen. Around at the front we now have the default Air Media splash screen. So what I've actually done is disconnected the laptop HDMI because that instantly shows my desktop. So setup purposes, this is what you would see when you walk in a room with the OpenUC Mercury X. You have the Mercury, again this is customizable, the logo is customizable, date and time, you can also link it up to the Exchange calendar. But this is the information here, what the IP address is and how to connect, either plug in or use the wireless Air Media sharing, and if you have the USB dongle you could use Miracast. So again, this content here can be customized and your own rolling content or even video clips. I've just plugged in my laptop again to the HDMI, and now you can see my laptop screen. So that's instantly shared to the front of room experience. So very easy for users to walk in and tether their laptop, USB and HDMI, and then that is presented into the room. They can then use whichever soft client they may be using, Skype for Business, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, WebEx, Hangouts, GoToMeeting, Amazon Chime, you name it, any soft client on their desktop, and they can then utilize that and then utilize the room camera, so the front of room experience, and then also then utilize the Mercury audio, etc. So now you can see I've got my Teams client running here, so I could then go ahead and make a call utilizing that. So let's go back to my desktop. Back here on my desktop now, just to prove that it all works, I'm going to start the Windows camera, and you can see that I have my front facing camera and switch cameras. I've also got the Hadley IQ, so I just need to set that as my default. Being able to utilize any device in any room, you can utilize that. And then coming back to here, say for example if you wanted to make a call over here and you wanted to use Bluetooth, obviously you need to pair your phone. So in my case here I've got my iPad, I'm going to pair my iPad, and let's go and pair iPad and look for the device because it automatically pops up when you're on the iPad screen. And it's now paired, as you can see, connected to Graham's iPad. So now I'm connected on Bluetooth and I'm able to, let's say, pick some music, and that will then stream over Bluetooth.
Welcome back to Defected Radio Show with me, Sam.
You can use that as your audio device, whether your mobile phone, cell phone, or your tablet, and stream music if you want during the day in your office, or even take calls. So if you get a call inbound on your cell phone, mobile phone, then utilize the Mercury, DTMF tones, and everything all works. Just like you may be pairing it to your car kit and you're using Bluetooth. So there we have it. That is the overview of the Mercury X. Nice and slick, very, very simple, and loads of options to do everything. And again, if you don't want to show your laptop, you can set all these settings up in the web GUI actually, as well as loads of configuration options available to you. Thanks very much for this unboxing feature on the Mercury X, which I think is the first one in the UK. Any questions? Let me know. Thanks.